hasn't rebounded from those budget cuts 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2008.
And so people just really need to understand that when you see the cuts on the elementary and sometimes the middle school levels, it's obvious. It's kids going home a little early. Parents are in volunteering, so they experience a classroom with 28 kids in it. At the high school level, parents aren't in there volunteering, and parents don't always understand how high schools are impacted. When you cut electives, not only are you decreasing the opportunities for students to learn and grow in multiple areas, perhaps careers that they'll go on, you increase the class sizes in the remaining electives. When we have required classes in art with 30 kids in it because students don't have choices, then that's too bad for the kids that are seriously studying art. And it goes, for the most part, undetected in a community unless you have kids in that level. I really think that we need to do a better job highlighting the experiences in high school. You've certainly done a great job, John, you and your staff, of keeping things together and growing incrementally over the last 3 years. I really hope that we can provide you with a level services budget to keep what you've had and maybe to tweak your staffing to find the things that kids are interested in and that your staff has certification to teach. That would be outstanding. There's one area, though, that I don't think we've had the chance yet to restore, and that's curriculum leadership and department chairs. From what I understand, unless anything has changed, the staff, they're teaching during those, what used to be department chair hours where they could collaborate and really study the different instructions. And do you have any plan for moving forward with that in the future?
Sure. Right now, there is no curriculum leadership at the high school in the form of curriculum chairs. There is none. There has not been any this school year at all. That responsibility has fallen on myself, the assistant principal, and Pam Bovin, the director of curriculum and technology. And fortunately, teachers have done a commendable job of pitching in to make things work, because I think they see the value in doing the work and benefiting the students. So they're not willing to sacrifice so greatly that it falls apart, so to speak. The plan, we've been meeting, the administrative team has been meeting with the superintendent and the teachers union since October, I believe, and we do have plans for what I believe, and I think others believe, is an enhanced curriculum leadership model, but I'm not sure when that would be something that would be implemented. But I don't think we can go very long without some sort of school-based leadership at all three levels, elementary, middle, and high school, and not start to feel the effects of that. And I would also want to add that about the three levels, that as a group, we've always, I think, shown a very healthy respect for the interests of each other, because we know that, if the middle school is suffering in some way, the high school is eventually going to feel that. And if the elementary schools are suffering in some way, then the middle school will feel that, and the high school will feel it a little bit later. So we've always, and I think continue to view it as we're all in this together type of thing. And it isn't about the high school against the middle school against the elementary, but it's all of us, because we all believe in what's best for the system for all students, because we are all going to either benefit from that, or we're going to feel the negative effects of that. So the curriculum leadership is just one other area where we all feel very strongly at all three levels that needs to be reinstituted, because absent that, I think the effects would be deep and long felt.
The team approach, the team model that you mentioned, is the strength of our system.
I think so.
I'm convinced of that.
I think so.
I also want to point out that the high school did lose a staff position last year. I think John we were able to go with one fewer English department position.
Yeah.
However, there's a long-standing need at the high school, in my opinion, which is for a fourth guidance counselor. We have nearly 750 students, and we have 3 guidance counselors. And just seeing the work alone that they have to do with the senior class around the college admissions, I just think that almost 250 students per guidance counselor, I know we're butting up against, if we're not over, the recommended maximum. And you always hate to be in a system where oh, we're okay, we have 250 students per guidance counselor, and that's the maximum recommended. You'd like to be kind of a little bit lower than the maximum, and I know John would like to get that position back, that he kind of gave us last year, and maybe beef up the guidance department, and I think that that would be an ideal place to put that person if we could.
In my budget documents to the superintendent identified that position. I wanted to make sure that it was known that there was this one position that, that had been reduced, as you say, Mr. Webster, and that my interest would be, again, it's hard to predict what the class sizes will look like right now, because I don't know what the incoming ninth grade class is going to be. I don't know fully what classes students are going to take, but if I'm at all close to where I believe we will be, in terms of student-teacher ratios in classes, then I would like to have a position of a fourth adjustment counselor / guidance counselor or full guidance counselor. And I did, make that presentation. I believe you all received paperwork on that back a few weeks ago. But I think the importance of that is certainly there.
I have a question, and it's actually for both of you. One thing that I'm very concerned about when we talk about the budget is its indirect, well, I really view this as a direct impact on the behavior of our students and sort of the environment and how it supports emotional growth, ability to develop themselves into functioning adults, and to be very productive. And I'm, there's so much going on at the state level about bullying and other things that we're going to have to possibly do other policy changes related to that, and I've been following it and thinking about our budgetary situation and wondering, if you could speak to our class sizes changing and how that would potentially affect overall behavioral issues at both the middle school and the high school.
Did you want to hear from both of us?
Both.
I think we probably share a feeling about the more students that the teachers are charged with the responsibility of working with. I think that does limit the ability to be as attuned as we would want them to be to the different social, emotional issues of students. I mean, if it's teacher's caseload starts to be 125, 135, or as many as 150 students, as opposed to, that would be 5 classes of, say, anywhere from 25 to 30 students in each class. If that number is down, in the 100 to 110 range, then we believe that there's something to be gained by that in terms of attention to what the students' needs are. Guidance counselors, when their ratios start approaching 250 students, I mean, that their time becomes limited. And you could say that for administration, too. I mean, we are not, I'll use Mr. Webster's famous quote, we're not a system with a lot of frills. And I have used that line because I don't think we are. But we do a good job of holding it all together. But, I do worry about the potential ramifications for not being able to do that over the long term.
I think with the young adolescent learner, I think, again, I use Mr. Bowers, the bare bones opportunities that we offer. Again, extracurricular activities at the middle school are pretty sparse. I mean, again, there's some barriers. Transportation is a barrier for the younger kids. I mean, again, we don't have late buses. That's a luxury. But again, that's when we interview kids with regard to their participating in activities, intramurals or the clubs and things. One of those things, common themes, I don't have transportation, I can't stay here beyond the end of the school day. And of course, the young learner, 12, 13, 14 years old, those are the kind of things that really get them invested. We move into our general arts block, and again, Mrs. Vaca is right. The last couple of years, we've made great inroads in restoring, the music program, the art, the band, the chorus. We, again, 2 years in a row, we've been able to put on a musical, and we're building these programs back after, some really tough budget cuts. But again, when we look at other middle schools in this area, we don't have a theater arts program. We don't have a family consumer science program. Tech ed, all right? Technology education is part of the MAS frameworks. We don't offer tech ed. I mean, again, it's kind of sprinkled in the science, part of the integrated science approach, but tech ed is one of those, hands-on, multi-dimensional programs that kids at this age really can be inspired by. I had a visit a couple weeks ago from John Murphy from Reading Co-op, and he's interested in helping us establish a personal finance course at this level. In fact, wants to come in and teach it. Well, in the middle school schedule, the good news, I think, in the last year or two, is we've kind of stabilized our schedule, and we're able to keep our academic classes 22, 23, 24 to 1, which is really good numbers. The way the matrix of the schedule works up, I won't get into a lot of details, but we can control our class sizes anywhere from when a class comes in, fifth graders coming up, 230 kids to 250 kids, we can keep those things balanced. But as soon as we leave the academic program, we move towards our general arts, class sizes spike to 28, 30, 32, with kids carrying, a study hall, more than one. It can be debated. Study halls, give kids time for organization, reading ahead, doing their homework, that's a good thing. But at the same time, when kids have 2 or 3 study halls across their curriculum for the school year, and they're not getting the tech ed or the family consumer science, or we can't control the art classes have got 28, 30, 32 kids in them, it gets to be that school culture. Good news, we are able to introduce PE and health for all middle school kids. They all take it on a regular basis, 3 days on, 3 days off. One of those periods being health. Bullying curriculum and the social curriculum that we're really trying to put in down, we really need almost standalone health instruction. So the kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, it's such a crucial 3-year period where we really would like to get the kids more involved in that curriculum without taking away the PE. So, again, some wish list things here, but, as we work towards a level service budget, again, I think what we have at the middle school is working. I think it's, I think it's adequate. I really would like to, foreign language is another area. Again, we begin to introduce language in 7th grade, and between 7th grade and 8th grade, it equals the first year of their language in either Spanish or French. But we don't really have an exploratory program. So I can see that in 6th grade. Really get the kids, a little German, a little Mandarin, a little French, a little Spanish, even though we may not have German and Mandarin later on, just to get them over that fear of language and get them to used to the culture and be able to really begin to think about world language as part of their curriculum. Again, Mr. Bernard is introducing some program changes in the business at the high school. We don't offer any business. That personal finance course, we try to set the kids up for high school, obviously. Getting them involved in some of these other areas so they get a little, it's kind of like a buffet. They're going to get a little bit of everything, not a lot of, and then when they go to the high school, they can make some really good choices. So I think that from a middle school level, level services, again, it's working. I think it's come, I think there's a lot of positives. We go backwards, the cuts will come, probably not in the general arts, because like I say, those classes are 28 to 30. When we talk about an academic teacher, the one thing the way we run a middle school with teams and in schools within school, every time you cut an academic position, you have to do that in multiples of 2 in order for the schedule to work, so that we can maintain team concept. Right, so it's not just like you can just take one teacher out and have those class sizes go up. You really have to do it in 2s in order for the teams. But philosophically, again, the debate, if you want to step away from the middle school concept and go more towards a junior high, secondary model, I'm not going to lie to you, there would be some cost savings there. Again, you go to a junior high and you count up how many kids you have in the middle school and you say, okay, I need so many sections of English, and you hire, 6.4 teachers and you run English, I don't recommend that.
I did that. I did that in Sauk, because I took a middle school and made it a junior high school, and it took years, believe me, to get back to the middle school concept. And the middle school concept is much more effective for that age group. You really don't want to go there.
And let's look ahead a little bit. We've got enough challenges for 2011. If you look at our 5th grade class next year, there's 255 kids, I believe, in it, or 265. Probably a large percentage of those, 95%, some kids go off 6th grade to Austin Prep, are going to be coming to the middle school. I think that's going to be the biggest class we've ever had, at least since I've been around. Maybe Jerry in earlier days we have, but that's going to be one of the biggest 6th grades we have entering middle school. And we need to maintain the programs this year, so hopefully have a possibility of adding on when that class gets to the 6th grade, and I think we have to look ahead to that. It's gonna be a